Welcome, everybody. Yes, in this video, I will aim to answer a question for spiritual awakening, small truth or big truth. Or to put it more fully, if you're aiming for spiritual awakening, which do you prefer? Small truth or big truth? I'm going to be doing my best here to answer that question. But first, I have a couple of questions for you. See this couple of cups? Question one of two. What do these two cups have in common? Question two. How are they different? Feel free to pause this video right now and enter your answers in comments below. To make answering more fun, let's add this idea. Cups hold liquids. Now, what if we were talking about holding truth? If you could fill up either one of these cups with knowledge of spiritual truth, which would you prefer? The larger cup could give you more, right? Now, let's add some discernment. Amount of spiritual truth is one consideration, but another really is the quality of that truth. All spiritual truth is not equally true. I'm going to say that again because it's an important idea and one that you might not have considered lately. All spiritual truth is not equally true just because it's supposed to be spiritual. One concept that I like to use about this is high truth value, in contrast to low truth value. Below this video, over here at YouTube, I'll add a comment that will contain a link to an article about high truth value in contrast to low truth value. For now, just take that distinction to mean this. High truth value means really good quality truth that can help you to move forward towards spiritual awakening or even spiritual enlightenment. While low truth value, that means something that sounds good, especially if you don't think about it very much. But the quality, poor. And if you believe in that truth and you pursue that truth, it's not going to necessarily help you one bit for the purpose of moving toward either spiritual awakening or spiritual enlightenment. Today, I'm going to give you some pairs of quotations, with the first one having low truth value and the second one having high truth value. By the way, in this video, I'm going to be calling you discerning you. Discerning you. And to introduce myself, I'm Rose Rosetree, the founder of Energy Spirituality. So what's energy spirituality? Energy spirituality helps people like you with emotional growth and spiritual awakening using energy-based skills that work now. And by now, I mean in the age of awakening. More on that idea of the age of awakening to come later in this video. A great thing about this video format, from your perspective, could be how having this as a YouTube video can actually support your discernment. Here's what I mean. You, discerning you can pause to think about each pair of quotes as soon as you hear it. You can be asking yourself, to me, what makes the difference between being high truth value or low truth value? By all means, take advantage of this being a video so that you can pause it at any time and have a think. As you British viewers of this video might say, and the rest of us are allowed to do it too, have a think. You get to have a think. Pause the video. Maybe you'll even comment below. Maybe you'll comment more than once. You know, you're allowed. And then resume playing. So even though this is a free video and you can take as casual approach as you like to it, you could also engage with this knowledge in the spirit intended, because I've been a spiritual teacher for 50 years plus, and I find that learning, especially learning things that help with personal growth, emotional growth, and spiritual awakening, well, that's about as exciting as it can be when you have something with high truth value. And of course, you, discerning, you are the one who's going to be deciding what you consider to be helpful for high truth value. Now, let's get started with the quote pairs. I'm very excited to share them with you. All of these come from a how-to book with a practical program for spiritual enlightenment. Most of the chapters begin with 2 quotes, and I'm going to present most of those quote pairs to you in this video so you can have a think. The title of this book is Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening. And here comes the first quote. This is from a chapter called Seeking Enlightenment. Could you be homesick for heaven? Well, hold on. Just to clarify, what is homesick for heaven? You don't often hear people use that word, that expression, do you? Homesick for heaven. Seems to me, as a spiritual teacher, not just the person I am, many people today feel very homesick for heaven. One way that you can tell if you're really making progress in your spiritual evolution is if you gradually stop feeling that kind of homesickness. However, discerning you, have you ever noticed or thought about this? People can also stop feeling homesick for heaven because they're not really engaged in life, and they become more and more disconnected from regular life. Many beautiful spiritual seekers who are people in the world, householders, are acting more like monks or nuns, not householders. And that can cause people to stop feeling homesick for heaven, but it's also a way to slow down your personal growth, especially now that we're living in the age of awakening. So now, here comes the first pair of quotes. My home isn't heaven. I'm just traveling through this world. That's from the Reverend Billy Graham, who was a very prominent and influential American evangelist. Here's a different truth, a truth for now. Maybe you'll agree it's a bigger truth. Longing for heaven won't help you to make the most of this lifetime, the one you have now. Especially if you're interested in spiritual enlightenment. Don't treat this precious human life like some pathetic kind of consolation prize. That's a Rose Rosetree quote. I do the second one each time. So that's how we'll roll here. Now, how about you pause for a moment, pause in a moment, for a moment. Since this is our first quote, here's a little background about all of the paired quotes that I'm going to be presenting to you. Calling that first quote small truth value, it may seem controversial at first or disrespectful. Quoting Reverend Billy Graham, for instance, he was a legendary minister. All over the world, people knew of him as a man of God. And there's something lovely about his quote here. But Graham was also a religious teacher when? During the age of faith. This era, the age of faith, it lasted on earth from the dawn of humanity all the way through thousands upon thousands of years until the shift into the age of awakening. As you may know, this happened on December 21st, 2012. Ever since then, we've been living in the age of awakening. What does that mean? Among other things, we have access to new spiritual understandings and new direct experiences that are sacred, all of which are extremely helpful if you're interested in spiritual awakening, and extremely helpful, maybe even indispensable, if you're aiming now to gain spiritual enlightenment. If we use our discernment now, discerning you, each of us can begin to make our own personal shift. We can stop thinking in terms that were wonderful in the age of faith, but now they're outdated. We can start understanding what works now in the age of awakening. The truth value can be quite different. Discerning you, this video can help you with this kind of education, this kind of discernment we're capable of, because all of us are now living in the age of awakening. It's like every time I take a ride in an airplane, I feel such gratitude. And probably every single time I have the thought, even pharaohs, even the most influential emperors and politicians throughout human history, most of them never had the privilege of riding in a jet plane. But for us living now, that's not impossible. We've done it. So a little bit like that, if we take a historical perspective, we can learn about the kind of discernment we're capable of now. In order for you to get with that, the most effective thing you can do that I have to recommend for you is that you read a practical how-to book called Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening. It's a how-to. It's crammed with detailed knowledge about how to live well now in the age of awakening. Versus what? How to keep on carrying forward sweet but outdated tropes from the age of faith. Among other things, every chapter in Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening begins with one of the quote pairs you're being given to consider here. And then a full chapter exists to help you understand in depth why the small truth, quote, can't serve you as well as the big truth. Well, now I'll start to give you super quick introductions to each of the following chapters. You know more now, so you'll get more. From chapter 2, Church Winters in the Age of Awakening. This chapter in Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening, this chapter explores changing relationships to religion now that the age of faith really is over. This is such a huge and complex question that we pursue it throughout most of Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening. Kind of a bit of background detective work. We refer to it there as the Church Winters mystery. You know, not churchgoers, but former churchgoers, church winters. Discerning you, probably you were born and raised before the shift on December 21st, 2012. So you were raised with age of faith type beliefs about prayer and religion and God. Well, this next pair of quotes is about following whatever you have been taught. You see, discerning you, you get to choose what you believe in now, and you get to choose what you do about that. First quote. I prayed for 20 years, but received no answer until I prayed with my legs. This is from Frederick Douglass, the abolitionist and social reformer. And here's my counter quote. Organized religion can inspire you, but it won't help you evolve spiritually. Not now, in the Age of Awakening. Not if you're intent on growing beyond your usual limitations. Next chapter, your new superpower, enlightenment helpful. Discerning you, did you ever think about how, ever since the shift into the Age of Awakening, you've been given a consciousness positioning superpower? You have been given a consciousness positioning superpower. Here's our first quote. We suffer primarily not from our vices or our weaknesses, but from our illusions. We are haunted not by reality, but by those images we have put in place of reality. Here's a different version, a version for now. To avoid suffering, don't keep asking, did I really receive this amazing consciousness positioning superpower? The important question goes, how can I use it? On to our next chapter now. Take that pause, think, have a think, comment away, then join us again. Next chapter. What was the shift into the Age of Awakening? If you or when you gain a clear understanding about what happened with the shift into the Age of Awakening, that can help you greatly in your emotional growth and spiritual awakening. Unfortunately, much of what people today are saying about the Age of Awakening is, to put it directly, it's wrong. It's incorrect. It's tinged with psychic influences, and much of it can lead to a dead-end consciousness lifestyle. In my view, discernment is different from judgment, huh? So to show you what I mean here, besides reading the next pair of quotes, below I'll add another link to an article. This one is called True Signs of the Age of Awakening. And it's about some of the hooey, in my opinion, that many people have been told about the shift and what it means to be living now. Anyway, here are the quotes. The ability to recognize opportunities and move in new and sometimes unexpected directions will benefit you no matter your interests or aspirations. That's a beautiful statement from Drew Gilpin Faust, the first female president of Harvard University. But here's an alternative. Unless you're shopping in a store, new does not come with a label attached, nor with a price tag. Next, why spiritual awakening is not enlightenment. Such an important thing to understand, discerning you. Before enlightenment, a man has no real sense of self. Life in ignorance brings nothing but confusion about the self, causing us to live like the football of circumstances, kicked here and there. That quote comes from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, my former late ex-guru, and he was speaking at a course I attended in Poland Springs, Maine in 1969. Best as I recall that quote. That's what he said. Alternative. Every experience of spiritual awakening strengthens our sense of self. As we continue to evolve spiritually, and especially once we cross the threshold of enlightenment, each of us spontaneously lives with a sense of self that is constant, dependable, and true. Continuing on, content or process. Don't be fooled. When it comes to how you use your consciousness, your spiritual awareness, it's very helpful to learn up-to-date concepts about content and process. Content and process. Otherwise, we can get stuck in mood making and think and feel like we're really getting somewhere spiritually. Unfortunately, that's just a feel-good illusion. Happiness cannot be traveled to, owned, earned, worn, or consumed. Happiness is the spiritual experience of living every minute with love, grace, and gratitude. Courtesy of Dennis Waitley, a writer. In case you're wondering, living with love, grace, and gratitude is not called enlightenment. It's called mood making. Thinking about positive ideas, content, can actually hold a person back from living your full potential in life, which is a process. Energy talk, a seductive substitute for enlightenment. I'm going to say that again. Those are shocking words, huh? Energy talk means talking about energy, talking about people's energy, this, energy, that. I like his vibes. You got good energy. That's energy talk. It's a seductive substitute for enlightenment. Discerning you, there is so much to learn on this topic that I call energy talk. Many folks believe this is necessary to do if you want to advance spiritually. Others seem to find that it is proof of spiritual awakening. Oh, such an important topic. Maybe some of you would like to comment below about your reaction to that controversial thing I just said. Now, let's just move on to our next pair of quotes. As the chef, I got into this because I love the creative energy and I love the science, but I also love to feed people and make them happy. From Christina Tosi, obviously a sweet person and a chef. Other quote. What accounts for the appeal of energy talk? Perhaps trying to prove how much you know about the spiritual nature of life? Ironically, a person who's really in enlightenment has absolutely nothing to prove. Can you recognize energy talk? Although many people do energy talk, including in today's newspapers, it's also true that this way of talking has become so commonplace that many people don't even recognize they're hearing it. For example, you being you is enough. And you putting your positivity and good vibes out into the world. Once you get to that point, absolutely everything will fall into place. That's from Lizzie Velasquez, a motivational speaker. Informative conversation with another person on any topic under the sun never just falls into place because you're being you. Nor is the point of any conversation to send people your vibes. Look, you went to a lot of trouble to learn how to talk. Remember? Please keep on speaking human type language. Like puberty, except about energy. Did you live through some or all of the New Age years from 1980 until the shift on December 21st, 2012? This was a transitional time right before the shift into the Age of Awakening. We could also call this period the Oprah years, because of Oprah Winfrey's extreme popularity during this time. Many beautiful spiritual seekers are still living as if we're still in the Oprah years. However, discerning you, what if you aim to use your full potential in life? Then you'll move on from these beliefs. You're responsible for the energy that you create for yourself. And you're responsible for the energy that you bring to others. Courtesy of Oprah Winfrey, major influencer during the New Age years. In practical terms, you're only responsible for what you say and do. Beware frittering away this precious lifetime by trying to make it all about energy. You asked for a human life, and now you've got one. Now we'll move on to part 2 of Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening. Part 2 is about what the Enlightenment establishment overlooked. Discerning you. Have you ever heard the term the Enlightenment establishment? I first wrote about it in Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening. Who's included in the Enlightenment establishment? Most meditation teachers, mindfulness teachers, yoga teachers, psychotherapists, priests, and ministers, and imams, and rabbis, empath teachers, teachers of ascension and fifth dimensional escapism, and others today who hold themselves out as authorities on personal development. And yet, almost all of them are still replaying golden oldies from the age of faith. It seems to me, if they tweaked their work to take into account what works now in the Age of Awakening, they could help their people far more. Meanwhile, the Enlightenment establishment is proudly proclaiming spiritual ideals that are now obsolete. Discerning you, what a positive difference it can make for you to distinguish leftover beliefs from what really works now. Worth paying attention, don't you think? Small truth value versus big truth value. Let's go on to the next chunk. Humanity's superhero story. How can each of us avoid misusing our new consciousness positioning superpower? Role model. As far as my kids, I tried to be more like a superhero than a role model, because I don't want them to go through what I went through, like growing up and stuff. From 21 Savage, the rapper. In real life, gaining today's consciousness positioning superpower does not allow us to opt out of human living. I'm going to say that again. I know this might be a new idea to some of you, even the idea of today's consciousness positioning superpower, but you can learn a whole lot about it from Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening. In real life, you know, where you live, where you want to live, right? In real life, gaining today's consciousness positioning superpower does not allow us to opt out of human living. Our superpower can help us greatly, but only if we develop a delightful default, positioning our consciousness at human vibration frequencies. Defy the allure of the astral. Energy comes in different frequencies. Some energy is astral in nature. Some energy is human in nature. Some energy is human as what it is, and some energy is divine in nature. Discerning you, these days it's unusual for folks to have any practical discernment whatsoever about these different vibrational frequencies. They just call them all energy. Like that's smarter? I don't think so. If you're really interested in spiritual awakening or spiritual enlightenment, sooner or later, you're going to find it important to tell the difference between human, astral, and divine vibrational frequencies. I'm going to take a moment to use a meal cup for holding something with great liquid truth value. Great invention called water. On to our next quote. Thanks for bearing with me. I know this is turning out to be long reading it out, but what you think about could help you a lot with your discernment. For spiritual awakening, if you really want that or enlightenment, big truth is the way to go, not small truth, however beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, here's one. Something opens our wings. Something makes boredom and hurt disappear. Someone fills the cup in front of us. We taste Rumi's sacredness. It was from Rumi, the Sufi mystic, beautiful Sufi mystic, living in the 13th century. Living in the 13th century, Rumi could write so innocently. He had no need to question the source of his treasured experiences. But living now, we better learn how to distinguish divine, which he experienced, from astral, which is much more commonly experienced. Super comfy, low astral vibrational frequencies. Yeah, there are different vibrational frequencies that are astral, and here the topic is low astral vibrational frequencies. Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening is the first book I know of to bring practical discernment about low astral vibrational frequencies versus other types of astral vibrational frequencies. A practical discernment opportunity for you folks. It can serve you well. Back to our quotes. If a girl is smiling and is bringing positive energy and she's happy, that's what I notice right away. And her teeth. Chandler Parsons, professional basketball player. Energy sensitive people often feel special when they talk about energy. What's missing? Discernment. Discernment about whether that energy talk helps or hinders their spiritual growth. Ironically, what's also missing a lot of the time? Discernment about which type of energy is being noticed. Often any random form of astral energy is considered superior to human wisdom. But why? Why? Snapshots of consciousness. Innovation for smart spiritual seekers. You know, like discerning you. One of the most practical things we can do in order to bring home the truth about different vibrational frequencies is a technical skill called researching snapshots of consciousness. Discerning you, I think you will love reading about this aura reading specialty because it brings home the reality of what experience is like for people who position their consciousness at different vibrational frequencies. First time written about, as far as I know, Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening. And here, the first snapshot of consciousness is designed to bring you and other readers unforgettable discernment, gentle but powerful discernment about what? About what happens when people are experiencing life at a low astral vibrational frequency. Anyone who devotes time and attention to what makes people tick, to me, is a smart person. From actor and activist Ron Silver. Great example, in my opinion, of something that seems nice, makes sense. You might think it's beautiful, but the degree of truth value for us living in the age of awakening is very puny. Very puny by comparison. Worthwhile though it is to seek a better understanding of people. Which approach are you going to take? The whatever approach? Aiming for significant clarity. We can benefit from skills, ideally precision skills, like researching a person's chakra, data banks, snapshots for sophisticated spiritual seekers. Discerning you, there is such a big difference between loose talk about energy and specific, precise exploration of different vibrational frequencies. Too many a spiritual seeker today believes, I know it all, when that isn't true sophistication, but being stuck in an illusion. The audience today has heard every joke. They know every plot. They know where you're going before you even start. That's a tough audience to surprise and a tough audience to write for. It's much more competitive now because the audience is so much more, I want to say, sophisticated. That's from Betty White, popular entertainer in America for 6 decades. Sophisticated about consciousness and energy? Oh, if you're seeking enlightenment now, protect yourself by developing a more sophisticated kind of discernment about that. Of course, the discernment in this chapter of Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening, this discernment has nothing to do with all the sophistication you may have gained from binge watching Friends or other showbiz favorites. Learn more about a low astral vibrational frequency. Discerning you, let's talk substances now. Did you know that beer makes people mellow because it brings a person's consciousness, a person's awareness to a low astral vibrational frequency? They who drink beer will think beer. Washington Irving, short story writer. Beer doesn't only relax you, it doesn't merely provide you with a fine, substantial belly. Drinking beer is a common way to position your consciousness at a low vibrational frequency, a low astral vibration frequency. Overcome spiritual illusions. Discerning you. Are you serious about spiritual evolution, including the goal of using your full potential in life? Then it's time to stop being seduced by pleasant sounding ideas that will waste your time. I'm doing my best to be mindful about how I'm living, to be kind and patient and not impose a bad mood on somebody else. Being mindful is as good a way to be spiritual as anything else. From Deirdre O'Kane, comedian And by the way, I'm not trying to imitate her or imitate any of the people who've come up with these quotes that are beloved by many people. It's just me reading some of these tiny truth value ideas that put people in a good mood and make people feel like they're really getting somewhere if they follow that advice. Discernment, in my understanding, is not judgment. Anyway, back to our next one. Mindfulness, ever hear of it? Mindfulness is one of today's most popular illusions. I agree with Deirdre that following one idealistic illusion is as good a way to be spiritual as pursuing any other illusion. Use your precious time for that, though, only if you don't care about attaining enlightenment or even spiritual awakening. This you can't reach by seeking to perfect any feel-good illusion. Pleasantly intoxicating medium astral vibrational frequencies. Now let's turn our discernment to the topic of medium type astral vibrational frequencies. Are they the same as low astral vibrational frequencies? I think hard drugs are disgusting, but I must say, I think marijuana is pretty lightweight. Linda McCartney, photographer. For most people, marijuana positions consciousness at a medium astral vibrational frequency. By contrast, cocaine, of which evidently Linda McCartney was not a fan, cocaine positions consciousness at a high astral vibrational frequency. If you're seeking enlightenment, make no mistake, all recreational drugs are heavyweight ways to disconnect from human vibrational frequencies. Whoops. Learn more about a medium astral vibrational frequency. Discerning you, for sure you can learn about what moves you toward the medium type astral vibrational frequencies. Start educating yourself and you'll be glad you did. How come? Here's the simplest way to put it. Astral is not divine. Yet you might be amazed to learn how many beautiful, well-meaning spiritual seekers are taking spiritual side trips. Not moving toward God as they mean to do, but taking a detour over to medium type astral vibrational frequencies. Heaven, I'm in heaven, and my heart beats so that I can hardly speak. And I seem to find the happiness I seek when we're out together, dancing cheek to cheek. Irving Berlin, songwriter of this beautiful song, Cheek to Cheek. In the age of awakening, falling in love can mean spontaneously positioning consciousness where? Often one sweetly positions consciousness at a medium astral vibrational frequency. What a feeling! But hello, what happens during a time of infatuation? That experience may not be as divine as it seems. Your crush hasn't necessarily been sent by God. Oh, I think I'm going to say that again. Your crush hasn't necessarily been sent by God. I think Irving Berlin had it right when he compared falling in love to being in heaven, an astral world. the false grandeur of high astral vibrational frequencies, also known around here as the false grandeur of high astral vibrational frequencies. Discerning you, high astral vibrational frequencies can be downright addictive. Ironically, most spiritual seekers today do not even know what they are. You think that protects them a lot from getting addicted to sources of experience at high astral vibrational frequencies? Nuh-uh. We can do something about that by having ideas, developing more discernment, and gaining ideas with a higher truth value. So here we go. We live in a fantasy world, a world of illusion. The great task in life is to find reality. From Iris Murdoch, a great novelist. Amazing Earth School can be a world of illusions or a world of reality. Which will it be for you? The answer depends upon your discernment and then how you use your freedom of choice. Definitely, you can give yourself a chance to pursue and attain spiritual enlightenment. To me, that's kind of the point. The point of this YouTube video, and thank you for bearing with me. It's taken a while, but you can watch in chunks. You can comment more than once. You can get yourself quite an education, and it's a terrific preview to reading Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening. Learn more about a high astral vibrational frequency. For instance, how can you prevent taking this kind of spiritual side trip? Discerning you, this chapter in that aforementioned book can help you a lot as a spiritual seeker. Do you want God, or do you want to waste your opportunity to evolve spiritually? But be happy while you do it. Illusion is needed to disguise the emptiness within. According to Arthur Koestler, author and journalist, and perhaps not with a reputation for jovial writing. Which matters more to you, God or pretty illusions that you have been taught in God's name? Or have you been clinging to the austere illusion of emptiness? Consequences will flow from your choice. Your choice. Attention, spiritual seekers. Astral is not divine. Finally, we consider this idea directly. Oh, discerning you. Countless spiritual seekers don't yet know the difference between astral vibrational frequencies and the divine vibrational frequency. But you can learn to tell the difference. I hope you don't mind if I tell you this, but I consider that I'm God. Amelia, a one-time energy spirituality client, turned out she was a fan of psychedelic magic mushrooms. Drug experiences do not authorize people to call themselves God, nor do other experiences of astral flash. Positioning your consciousness at the divine vibrational frequency is an altogether different experience, bringing gratitude and humility, never arrogance. Uniquely yours, the divine vibrational frequency. We're moving toward our last group of quotes here. I don't have all the paired quotes from chapters in this book because it goes beyond the small truth value versus the large truth value, low versus high. But starting with quotes from this chapter, many of the paired quotes I will be reading for you, discerning you, these quotes have the goal of exposing ideas that are very popular. Often they're traditional ideas. Sadly, they can keep beautiful spiritual seekers stuck on a pleasant spiritual side trip. Discerning you can do better. I'm here to help. Perhaps some of you watching this video have even had a personal session with me where I facilitated enlightenment validation for you, because you are by now living in spiritual enlightenment. In comments below, I would appreciate if those of you in spiritual enlightenment would share something about your experience. And of course, I'm interested in all of your comments, but here the point is there really, really, truly, truly is a difference between spiritual mood making versus using your full consciousness potential in life. A picture is worth 1,000 words. That's by Anonymous. Only 1,000 words? What would it be worth to you having clear experience at the divine vibrational frequency? Think that might be worth far more than all the thousands of photos currently stored on your phone? Actually, all your direct experience at the divine vibrational frequency goes into permanent memory, stored as process rather than content, and kept sacred in your subconscious storehouse of impressions, retained now and also throughout your long future as an eternal soul. Learn more about the divine vibrational frequency. Discerning you, let's dare to learn more about what is really about direct experience of the divine vibrational frequency versus sweet ideas that can put you in a good mood, but they can't get you there with awareness of the divine vibrational frequency. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. From the Unity Church hymnal. Perhaps this hymn was inspired by the author's split-second experience at the divine vibrational frequency process. But when a congregation sings these words, what's their experience? Most likely, they're caught up in wishful thinking about divine experience, content, their wishfulness enhanced by pretty music and group singing. For those hymn singers, consciousness is likely positioned at an astral vibrational frequency, or else a human vibrational frequency. By contrast, experience at the divine vibrational frequency is never a wishful mood. And then just a little bit from part 3 of Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening, which is for your personal program for spiritual enlightenment. In other words, Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening contains quotes. It contains a lot of illusion busting. It includes things you can do in order to pay better attention to reality. It even includes some social skills that can help you to grow faster, authentically have more spiritual evolution and integration of spiritual experience. Today's new consciousness smarts for seeking enlightenment, discerning new experiences of consciousness at the divine vibrational frequency are not very different from paying attention to mere ideas. They're not just different in terms of the content, the ideas. They have a different resonance, a different underlying silence, a different presence, degree of presence of God. It's one thing to have conversations about content, about what is holy or sacred or divine. And it can feel so encouraging, especially if you have been kind of homesick for heaven. But it is not the experience, the direct experience, the process of experience at the divine vibrational frequency. It's more like a difference between gossip and a relationship. You just want to be in God's fan club. You could do better. Tell me to what you pay attention, and I will tell you who you are. From Jose Ortega y Gasset, a philosopher. I will say that I have a fondness for Jose Ortega y Gasset because when I was in high school, our Spanish teacher, who was a bit of a rebel, had us read in Spanish a book called La Rebelión de las Masas. Ortega y Gasset had a mighty intellect, but he wasn't even pretending to be a spiritual teacher, which is good because he was not. It's very pragmatic. It's a little truth. Tell me to what you pay attention, and I will tell you who you are. But here's something else. To progress towards spiritual enlightenment, encourage yourself to be interested in human vibrational frequencies. Sure, you could do fancier tricks when positioning your consciousness, but that's for technique time, not most of your waking hours. Technique time, why it matters for gaining enlightenment. What's the single most important thing to learn for seeking enlightenment in the age of awakening? Do 20 minutes every day of technique time. That's 20 minutes tops, maximum. Time is the coin of your life. It is the only coin you have. And only you can determine how it will be spent. Be careful lest you let other people spend it for you. Carl Sandburg, poet. Wise people have always taken a passionate interest in how they spend their time. What's an essential skill now for seeking enlightenment, for age awakening? Use 20 of those minutes every day for technique time, neither more nor less. 10 excellent choices for your technique time. Oh, discerning you. It is so important to develop discernment about different kinds of technique time. They're really not created equal. This chapter in Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening summarizes 10 excellent choices you could make for your technique time. Yet how many people do you know, using discernment, not judgment, how many people do you know who are so proud of doing a form of technique time that is, to put it plainly, worse than a waste of time? After I learned from you about technique time, my main attention was on not doing more than the maximum 20 daily minutes tops. Only recently have I started to appreciate the importance of also actually doing the full 20 minutes of technique time every day. That's from Alexandra, an IT consultant in Spiritual Enlightenment. Choosing technique time wisely and then doing it daily is important for a smart spiritual seeker. Somebody like discerning you, right? Next, 10 terrible choices for technique time. Oh boy, discerning you. When you hear this next small truth value quote, relatively mundane truth value quote, this is an example of how really, really seriously, badly unhelpful many forms of technique time can be. Discernment is sorely needed on this topic. Technique time doesn't mean good and it doesn't mean excellent. A lot of the time it is truly terrible. You can find many articles about that at my blog. You're all invited to read and comment in different blog posts. Meanwhile, here we go, as we're moving toward the end of this set of quotes. Some people are afraid of what they might find if they try to analyze themselves too much. But you have to crawl into your wounds to discover where your fears are. Once the bleeding starts, the cleansing can begin. From Tori Amos, a singer-songwriter who's clearly not lacking in courage. What's one of the biggest surprises I've encountered as the founder of energy spirituality? When folks analyze what's happening to them subconsciously, like with psychological work, they're positioning consciousness at an astral, vibrational frequency. Whether the language you prefer is psychological or metaphysical, hello, either approach counts as technique time. Consciousness lifestyles, the test of enlightenment. If you search on my blog under consciousness lifestyles, you can learn a lot there. You can learn more that is practical in seeking enlightenment in the age of awakening. When Jesus taught, when Buddha taught, when all the great masters of the age of faith taught, there was no such thing as consciousness lifestyles. But there is now. Discerning you, this is a very useful topic to understand. Our Father who is in heaven, give us this day our daily bread. Jesus of Nazareth quoted in the New Testament. You knew that one. In the age of awakening, let's not passively wait for spiritual nourishment. Each day, we can actively move toward enlightenment by making choices that bring a good consciousness lifestyle empowering each of us to find our daily bread. Find our daily bread, which can help us to evolve faster spiritually. How this program for enlightenment helps you, assuming that you're almost finished with reading Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening rather than previewing it, browsing it. Spiritual enlightenment is not the same thing as feeling enlightened or paying attention to positive energy, which is very likely energy at an astral vibrational frequency. There's nothing divine about that, unless you count mood making. Don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings by pointing this out. Spiritual enlightenment is really not the same thing as feeling enlightened. I do believe we're all connected. I do believe in positive energy. I do believe in the power of prayer. I do believe in putting good out into the world. Harvey Fierstein, actor. If you'd like to help change this world for the better, alternatively, if you'd simply like to personally progress towards spiritual enlightenment, either way, what's important to know? Stop believing in feel-good ideas about energy. Daydreaming like that won't make a lick of difference. Wake up, people. And here's the last of the paired quotes, almost all of them, but not all of them, from Seeking Enlightenment in the Age of Awakening. Where you're headed. Did you know this, discerning you? Energy spirituality is not a path. Probably you already have a spiritual path, right? As an enlightenment teacher, my job is to help you make your chosen path productive. It is so age of faith to act as though we have all the time in the world and God will just figure everything out for us and give us what we need. But beautiful spiritual seekers like you have lived and died without getting anywhere close to using their full potential in life. Their full potential in life. Their full potential in life. While living in the Age of Awakening, you can make huge spiritual progress if you use your discernment and follow up accordingly. In the Age of Awakening, millions of people can move into spiritual enlightenment and do it as householders, people in the world, rather than monks and nuns. You could be one of those people. The long and winding road that leads to your door, God's door. Paul McCartney, songwriter and Beatles star, as a smart spiritual seeker, aim to find a road that won't be unnecessarily winding or long. You have a lot more choice about this than you might have thought. And I also want to add this. Thank you. Thank you. I would ring my heart-shaped silver bell that says love, but I think it would sound weird on the YouTube video. You've already had enough shocking information that might qualify as weird. So I just want to thank you. You've listened all the way through. That's impressive. I made this entire YouTube video for you, and I feel so glad that you've taken advantage of this opportunity. If you find this video is helpful in any way, please like it. Please also let your friends know about this resource, and definitely comment below to your heart's content. Discerning you really do have choice. You could just go into mood making, whatever's popular, whatever other people are doing, whatever gets a ton of hits on Google, whatever some age of faith still accumulates on Google and in collective consciousness. Or alternatively, you really can live as a smart spiritual seeker. You can use your discernment. You can use it to help yourself progress, really progress and evolve spiritually. You can do that so that your life is so much happier. And if you care about giving back to society, if you care about social justice, if you care about helping humanity in any way that's meaningful to you, you can be using your full potential in life. You can be using your full potential of consciousness. It's not just a dream. It's not just for monks and nuns. It can be your reality. You can definitely move toward it. And there are resources to help you move more rapidly than if you're just on your own. You can do this thing of real spiritual evolution, beyond spiritual awakening. You can live big truth. And you know what? In life, everyday life, it's not more expensive. Bye for now.